Hello and welcome back to another episode here at the Damage Report. But here is slightly different. What's not different is that it's Monday, and that means we've got Francesca Fiorentini. How's it going?
We're still here.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't moved. You've moved.
You look, you have a different background.
Oh yeah,
You know?
I mean, I was shamed out of my other background.
I liked it.
There was a lot of hot glue. It's there. A lot of hot glue went into it, but you know, we as we settle into the reality that we are never leaving our homes, you know, we just got to get creative. So I'm slowly changing it up. I see you have a studio. Are you with some sort of company? Are you like?
Well, I decided like we're
part
doing
of
a show, and I want to be professional, and there was one of two ways to go. I could like get a physical set, or I could like actually improve my commentary and make it worthy of the name. That's complicated, but we've got this. So I'm back in the studio. We're being very safe. There's literally no one else in the studio. So the way I'm thinking of it is phase one of the lockdown for TDR was we're all individually in our homes and we can't leave because it's the apocalypse. Now I'm alone broadcasting out of an empty media building that no one else can go into, nor would want to, which feels very apocalyptic in its own way.
Very
I'm like
much
a postman, but watchable.
It would have been really cool if there was like a little bit of moss growing over things.
Yeah, on me. I think there is. You said mold? But anyway, no, I brought some of my games, so it's not a total break from the past. And yeah, I'm sitting here by myself. It's a little bit weird, but I think it's going to be fun. And I'm glad that you're here with us.
Good to be here.
So we've got a lot that we're going to be talking about today because, of course, this is the start of the RNC. It's the morning, but Trump's already speaking on day one of his convention. So we're going to go through all the ways that the convention is off the rails. We'll have that for you very soon. But in addition, we have, you know, some really tragic news involving Jacob Blake and another just totally needless instance of police brutality. We've got an update on what Republicans think about COVID. That's always been fun as the death count has risen. Vaccines and Trump's reelection, an interesting little nexus that might meet between those. And Kellyanne Conway, we're going to bid her adieu by looking back over some of her highlights and lowlights. So that should be fun. But yeah, no, just getting ready for the week. It's going to be a rough one. What are your expectations? You ready mentally for it?
Trucks. I want more trucks. Yes.
I think we might get it. I think he might drive through a wall in a truck, not intentionally, at some point this week. So, and for everyone who is already, sitting with, oh my God, there's over 5,000 of you already watching. Okay, well then answer me this. Why are there 600 likes? You slackers. See, they say that we're slackers, millennial leftists and all that. You Zoomers, those of you who would like to Zoom but can't because it's broken, let's hit the like button. Come on, let people know that this is active. The algorithm is not going to algorithm itself. But anyway, with that, why don't we launch into our first topic, Francesca?
Do it.
Okay. It is day one of the RNC, sort of. It's a convention, but it is not like any RNC before. And I don't mean that it's digital, like how the DNC was different. Obviously, that was different. We live in Mad Max times. No, this is different in far more ways. So first of all, in terms of ethics, the president is going to be delivering his speech. And this quote says speech. Turns out it's speeches live from the White House after being forced to scrap plans to deliver the address to a large audience in Jacksonville, Florida, because of the pandemic. He'd prefer to be in front of an audience. I'd prefer that he took the pandemic seriously. So we each did get what we wanted out of this. So not only is he going to be doing it from the White House, which no president has done, considered, a violation of ethics. You're not supposed to do that, but it's Trump. He's going to do whatever he wants. He is, get this, speaking every day of the convention. He's already speaking now. And I know this only because I happen to be on Twitter, and Brett tweeted he was talking on day one of his convention about how many TVs there are on Air Force One.
Yes. Ooh, we're going to hear so much about sharks. So much about sharks and water pressure.
Do you think he's going to do the water pressure?
Oh, he's got to, because at this point, he is a parody of a parody of a parody of himself. He's living in a world of his own parody. And he knows that even though that was like that's a hit, that's a classic, you know? That's like the top 1% for Bernie, except, you know, fascist and scary.
Yeah. I think it might have been too easy of a question to ask if he's going to do the water pressure. Obviously, he's going to 1, 2, 3. Obviously, he's going to do that. The question is, and I want everyone in the chat to answer this, yes or no. Does he do the water pressure literally every day? Does he? Because there was a reporter who was like, is he just going to cover the same information every time? Have you watched him? Yeah, no, that's all he does. He has like a couple of rotating bits, but mostly it's to script.
And this is why, if you want to see something new out of Trump's repertoire, you don't want to see him drinking water with one hand. You know what we have to ask for. Show us the big boy pants. Show us that they exist. What are they? Are they Jockey Hanes? Are they Bonobo? Do they make underwear? Not sure. What's the bulge about? Give it to us. Hashtag show us the undies, RNC 2020.
Yeah. Oh, God. I'd prefer if you did not, but sure. Skip, I'm going to jump ahead to the big picture. So another thing that's different about this convention, when they announced the big speakers, you know, not just the online grifters like the guy who totally didn't do anything wrong at that protest with the Native American activist, or the couple that you only know exist because they pointed loaded weapons at totally peaceful protesters. Not those. I'm talking about the serious people. They announced 12 originally. Let's bring this up. You'll notice half of them are Trumps. And I'm not even counting one of the girlfriends who hypothetically would boost it even more. Wait, I think she's up there, right? Well, she's speaking anyway. So half. Now, like, we've talked a lot about the party becoming a cult of personality and Trump effectively ruling over like a tin pot familial dictatorship. But this is making a little bit obvious that not only is Trump going to speak every day, but a lot of the other people are going to be various Trumps. Even Tiffany's are going to be speaking there. It is just Trump from floor to ceiling. I can smell it already.
That's just in an image of the people who still pick up his phone calls. Like, that's it. You know, the people who actually, the people like send to voicemails everyone else. Those are the people who are like, fine. Like, those are just, and it's so funny because remember the rising stars? We're being promised rising stars. Yeah. You know, that is the dude who smirked down a Native American protester.
Totally.
And like the couple who came out in their khakis with weapons, semi-automatics and stuff.
Yep.
Like, they're rising stars. And there's going to be some OAN people,
obviously. Yeah. Oh, I mean, is the really crazy one going to be there? I wonder the one John Oliver talked about. Anyway, so a few of the funny notes about the cast, that Candace Owens didn't get a spot. That's kind of funny. And then, so I saw on the full list of who's speaking today, the first name I saw was Charlie Kirk, which is funny. And then I saw, and I swear to God, I didn't know he hosts a show every day. Does anybody know that? They said it's like, I've literally never heard that he hosted a show. I thought he just did that, you know, the fake college grifty thing with the right-wing billionaires. He hosts a show.
I feel like it sounds something like, why are girls like so, anyway, we'll be right back.
I'd watch it. I think that's pretty good. I would watch that. Okay, so we've got the fact that they're all Trumps and that Trump's going to speak every day, and maybe the last one will be scripted. I guarantee the first 4 will be about how he hates sharks and 1, 2, and I won't mention the toilet, but you know what I'm talking about. And also, so one of the big things that happens at these conventions, because remember, these are very traditional things stretching back hundreds of years. And, you know, there's a lot that has to get done there that really doesn't make any sense to a regular person, but that's what happens there. And one of those things is passing a platform. Remember last week when the Democrats passed theirs and it was garbage and we hated it? Well, the RNC decided we're not going to risk turning off our voters anymore. We're just not going to have one. Literally, they're not going to pass a new platform. I'm not joking or exaggerating. Their party platform is effectively, we enthusiastically support the president's America First agenda. They don't give more details of why or what that is because they can't. It's just whatever Trump babbles about every night this week, that's what we support, I guess.
Yeah,
they explicitly say there's no
underlined, like, you know, brackets. What Trump will mention is what we stand for.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, but it's okay. Two things. One, that reveals that party platforms aren't always that important, right?
Apparently.
I mean, they are for if you want to actually, like, you know, gather a base up, you know, get some support. I know that on the Democratic side, there's been good discussions and fights over the Democratic Party platform, whether or not the Democrats even make good on that platform. That's what I mean. That's what I mean when I say, like, how much does it really matter? But it sets a course for, you know, your entire party. I think maybe they just haven't gotten it back from Russia yet. Like, Putin's still, like, you know, crossing the I's or dotting the T's, you know, because he's got it backwards. And,
you know, like, Cyrillic's a different alphabet, honestly.
It's very different. But, like, this is the thing is, like, the party has been laid bare for exactly what it is, which is a massive transfer of wealth to the already wealthy. That's all it is. And this is their Trojan horse, idiot populist with a red hat on and lots of bronzer, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. The objective in terms of policy is privatize as much as possible and then loot it. Just take it and hand it to the people that they like them, and distract their base by just giving them racism. Just racism. Yes. That's it. That's the only thing. Now, here's the thing, though. I want to give you a little bit more about the fact that they're not going to have a platform, because it turns out that there are some funny consequences of that they perhaps didn't think about it because they didn't think. So one is that they explicitly say in what we showed you that any motion to amend the 2016 platform or to adopt a new one, including any motion to suspend the procedures that will allow doing so, will be ruled out of order. So it's not just that they're not going to do it. It's that if anybody tries to, they can't do it. They're setting up the rules for the conventions that they can't do it, which means that the 2016 platform remains as their most recent platform. So let's see if we can learn anything about what they plan to do based on what's in that platform. So because it can't be amended, we have to assume that they continue to support that all international executive agreements and political arrangements entered into by the current administration must be deemed null and void as mere expressions of the current president's preferences. That's refreshing, because a lot of them were really bad. I guess they don't like them. That's what their platform says. What a stupid world we live in. It's literally just, let's just have Trump will get up there, and then Uday and Kusei will give speeches, and then that's it. That's all we need. It's just a rock at this point.
I do think, and we haven't discussed this, but look, the RNC is really taking advantage of this pandemic, because I'm going to be honest with you, given who was treasurer for forever and how much money they have and how much money they aren't getting from the NRA, I think they would have had to go virtual anyway, whether there was a pandemic or not. They have no money left. Mm-hmm. No money left. There was no way it was going to be anything like 2016. They are a shell of themselves, right? Like, how many different... So I think they're like, this is the best thing that could have happened to them, is actually being virtual. I think it would have been virtual anyway.
I know some people in the audience might be thinking, well, Trump's rich. Trump could just pay for it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he could pay for stuff. That's the thing that's going to happen. So yeah, we'll have to see. Now, I want to talk a little bit about, let's see, make sure we said that, speaking for the White House. It's ridiculous. One more ridiculous thing. And so this isn't going to really shock you. And considering the people that we're talking about that are being excluded, it's not like they were great, but this, according to John Haltwanger of Business Insider, the RNC will feature no former GOP presidents nor ex-GOP nominees. In 2016, the only ex-nominee to attend was Bob Dole, and it was the first GOP convention in roughly 40 years in which a Bush did not speak. This year's DNC featured all living Dem presidents and prominent Republicans. Exactly. That's unfortunate. Yeah, it's just like the people who actually ruled as Republicans don't want anything to do with this, and I get it. They sucked. Not saying they didn't suck. They sucked, and it was consequential, and hundreds of thousands of people lost their lives because of how they sucked. But it's just the Trump show. It's just we have literally no specific expectations except that he will continue to give us tax breaks, and he'll tear apart Medicare and Medicaid, and he'll tear apart Social Security, and he'll give the money to us. And whatever, just give us that. We don't care. Just give him the mic and just let him babble for like an hour. We all think he's badass crazy anyway. Let's just do that. And it's effectively, bread and circuses and all that, except it's, racism and 1, 2, 3.
It's it worked in 2016. I was there, you were there in the RNC in 2016, and we were like, how is the fringiest fringe of the fringe gonna pull this off? And they did. That was seen as a virtue. Not having any former presidents, and honestly, maybe it is a virtue, right? Like, obviously, I would love for him to try and resuscitate Bush. That would be so beautiful. I really, really would, mostly because I just want to see his
speech.
I just want to see Bush sort of like bring out. I just want to see him paint, actually, a little bit of like Bob
Live
Ross
on stage.
But W, yeah.
Yeah, just I want a Twitch stream of George W. Like painting.
Yes.
No, it would be a weird throwback to hear him speak. I haven't heard him speak in literally years.
You know what? And I do not miss him. I'm not someone who's like, oh, Bush was better. No.
Definitely.
But hearing his voice, I think I would either go immediately into shock and like just like start having a seizure, or like be a little bit relaxed.
It was terrible. I mean, I know I think you got tapped into politics earlier in life than I did, but my awakening was in the thick of the darkness of the Bush years. So no, I'm not one of those people that's going to forget that. But there are aspects of it I'd prefer, aspects that maintained a little bit of my sanity. Now, with that, we've covered some of the ridiculousness. Now, let's see what we can learn. So the RNC is not going to have a new platform. We get that. It's whatever Trump wants. So follow-up question, what does Trump want? What is the second term going to be about? And so we have a tweet from Annie Carney, reporter, who said he was talking with Steve Hilton, Trump was, and said, I would strengthen what we've done and I would do new things. Oh, good. I have no follow-up questions. I'm going to write a book on it now. So now that's funny. Here's the funnier thing. She acknowledged this is the 5th time he's been asked the specific question, what are you going to do with your second term, in just the last 2 months, multiple times by Sean Hannity. Like, it is a comfier environment for him than my bed is for me, and he has not been able to come up with an answer yet. It's whatever. The Republicans don't know, his base doesn't know, and he doesn't know literally anything. Now we're going to get to a little bit of it, but I would ask you first, like, do you have expectations? Do you think he will make clear anything about his agenda in today's speech or any of the follow-on speeches this week?
Donald Trump will vote for Joe Biden. Do not mistake that. He's going to get into the little polling booth, close the little curtain, look both ways, and vote for Joe Biden. Look, I thought he would maybe vote for Clinton in 2016. I don't think he did, because he was like, what if? This might be fun, because he never wanted to be president. And now he truly does not want 4 more years, to the point where he can't even like regurgitate his campaign slogans for the next 4 years. You're absolutely right. You can't articulate what you want to do. You ramble when you get a softball question from your friend Sean Hannity. All he has to say is more law and order, more police. I don't know. Just do what your campaign is doing. But he's not even doing that. Like, is Stephen Miller not able to help him out on this one?
It's not like you don't make a good case, but I need more evidence before I'm going to believe that. I think dude loves the spotlight, and this is the biggest spotlight that you can have, I think. Hey, we're a democracy. Sure, yes. We're a democracy in America. Let's ask chat. Does he want to get reelected or doesn't want to get reelected? I'm curious. I think he wants to. He knows he has power that he can, like, not to do a lot of things because he's not smart enough or curious enough about the world to come up with things to do, but he can take money. He can do that, and he can give it to his friends, and he can just divert resources to his kids and stuff like that. I think he hates parts of it, definitely. And if he doesn't get reelected, he's still going to be a constant presence on Fox News and everything, but I think he likes it too much.
Here's a question. 4 more years of Trump, does he like make, red-hatted kid like chief of staff and like make, the sort of like Bonnie and Clyde KKK Bonnie and Clyde? Like, you know, are they part of the cabinet too? Is he picking randos, or does the Trump administration just reset and we go back through everyone who's resigned and written a book? It's like Reince Priebus comes back.
Scaramucci.
Yeah, exactly. Sean Spicer's there, and we're just like, I mean, honestly, that's what I think is what would happen. Because they'd be like, look, my book, not selling anymore. I Dance with the Stars. Got to come back on this train.
Yeah. I don't know. I will just quickly say, and again, I've said this multiple times, I really don't care about this kid. I just didn't buy the development of that story, the idea that he was just totally wrong place, wrong time. He doesn't think anything bad towards, you know, Native Americans or anyone who's not white. Yeah, just wait and follow him. Follow his career. Let's see what happens. Let's see if he just goes about his life as a normal private citizen with no racial animus or anything like that. Or let's see if he tries to chase that dragon and just tries to get on the right-wing shows, and he's on Fox News, and now he's got a podcast. Oh, let's see. Because we were wrong, remember? Left was wrong to imply anything about what he thinks about politics, right? It's just a regular kid. Okay, well, let's see. Let's find out.
I completely agree with you, John.
Anyway,
100%.
Supreme Court. Yeah, and like, I don't remember his name, honestly.
No.
Like, and I really don't care. And if he wants to be a private citizen, leave him alone. He can be a private citizen. I would, once you sue multiple media companies, it's a little bit more difficult to do that. But anyway, okay, so as to what he's supposedly going to do, while he's not going to know much of this or say much of it in his multiple speeches this week, Trump and his campaign did put out some of his goals for a second term. And so I want to pop through a few of these. So one is on a section called Eradicate COVID-19. Wait, I thought we already eradicated it. First is develop a vaccine by the end of 2020. Okay. Laudable goal, and we're going to talk about that more later on the show. The number two is return to normal in 2021. Dude, same. That's my goal too. That's all I want. And then like things like making the supplies available, refilling stockpiles. Dude says every day that it's not his job, it's the governor's job. Well, stop implying that you're going to suddenly, you know, be some sort of leader when you've been passing the buck for months at this point. No, if you did the failure, you don't get to suddenly imply success for things that you hypothetically would do someday. That whole section is basically, give me a vaccine. That's it. That's the whole thing. Mm-hmm. We also have on healthcare, things like cut prescription drug prices, put patients and doctors back in charge of our healthcare system. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. And I doubt he's going to do much, if anything, to cut prescription drug prices. Lowering the premiums. What is he going to do? He told us, like, what, was it a month ago? Then in 2 weeks, he's going to have his healthcare plan. He told us the same thing 3 years ago. It's never going to happen. There's no plan. There's nothing coming. Stop lying. He's going to cover all pre-existing conditions. No, we have that. You're the one trying to take it away. We've got that already. They're covered. So he can just put things in there that, like, he wants to imply don't exist, and not a single Trump voter is going to look at that and be like, wait, that's not true. Didn't the ACA provide protections for that?
We're going to get rid of child labor. They've been in the coal mines for too long. Like, You're absolutely right. I mean, healthcare is a really interesting one. And this is, of course, where I get mad at the Democrats for not pushing harder. But even people like Ted Cruz know that they've lost the discussion around healthcare. They've lost the debate. I mean, they're still going to try and repeal the ACA, but they have no alternative because they realize, hey, the ACA is kind of great if you're a private health insurer and if you invest in private health insurance companies. Like, they're billionaires too. So why is this not a win-win for Republicans, Democrats, and the private health insurance industry? And yet public opinion keeps on moving farther and farther, not left, but just, hey, we should cover everyone regardless of their ability to pay. And no, it shouldn't be means tested. And yes, it should be universal. Like, let's just do it already. So it's interesting just how much has changed in 10 years.
I mean, both parties have issues that they run on every 4 years, and then when they're in power, they do literally nothing to change it because it turns out it's just more convenient to run on it than to do anything. Covering all pre-existing conditions. Under a second term, I'm going to develop the horseless carriage. No, we have the horseless carriage. No, we already have that. Anyway, protect Social Security, Medicare.
He's gonna roll out penicillin and just be like, "Look what we've got!
I invented
a COVID cure." Like, no, it's not. It's penicillin.
Yeah, well, penicillin might be a little bit complicated for him. He's gonna pull something out of his easy bake oven and ask for applause. Okay, so on education, I swear to God, this is the entire thing. So one is provide school choice to every child in America. That just means privatize education. And teach American exceptionalism. So privatize it and then just teach kids we're the best. Ignore all the issues we have. We don't need to fix anything, and we're not going to. We're the best. That's it. That's the whole section on education. And then, of course, there's a big section on defend our police. Yeah. It's just, Antifa needs to be brought to justice. All of it. All of Antifa needs to be brought to justice. Everybody.
Violent extremist groups.
I've literally never heard cashless bail as a thing to be attacked. They're implying that, no, you literally, if you don't have a bunch of money, you're getting locked up. This is the right-wing.
And cashless bail. I've never heard that.
I've never heard that before as a thing. It's a new term. End cashless bail. We just got a little bit of it a week ago. What are you talking about? Okay. We're going to be tuning in. It's going to be crazy. I think tomorrow I'm leading the Young Turks coverage of the RNC with Ben Dixon, but we're going to be doing coverage every night as we did last week. So definitely tune in starting at, I think, 6 Pacific, 9 Eastern. We're going to be doing coverage, and it's going to be something. Like, you don't think Don Jr. is going to stand behind a giant Q podium or something? It's going to be, I hope that CNN and MSNBC
podiums?
Maybe. I hope that they are ready for this, because they're going to say crazy. They're going to not just crazy. They're going to talk about satanic pedophile cannibals and stuff like that.
Well, this is actually an interesting test for mainstream news networks, because many of them have refused to run Trump campaign rallies because of, misinformation, etc. And racism and stoking conspiracy theories. But are they going to run this whole thing just top to bottom? Are they going to give it the same treatment? Right. And that's the thing is obviously the right will claim that there's bias. Yeah, man. Because you got nut jobs up there and they're spewing racist things and racist coded language. You don't get this. You don't get every night 3 hours of just, because what they're going to do in the dead air is they're just going to fill it with Trump campaign advertisement. Which they're already buying on MSNBC anyway, so pay them for it at least.
Yeah, front page of YouTube and all that. Yeah, and are they going to have that Marjorie Taylor Greene? I think her name is, the QAnon candidate. Oh, one of the QAnon candidates, because they have a Senate candidate as well that won a primary that believes in QAnon. Are they going to let her speak and talk about Q? You don't think they won't? They got Matt Gaetz up there. Dude's hanging out with Laura Loomer every day now.
Is Q like their Medicare for all, where it's just you can allude to it, but you can't say Medicare for all? For the Democrats?
I don't know. I mean, that is the future, and some would argue the core of the Republican Party. At some point, they're going to embrace it even more. Which is the duller Trump son, Eric. Eric, he put up on Instagram a big Q. The image was just a Q with the American flag colors. That's it. He eventually took it down, but he put it up. You don't think Trump is already sort of giving a little wink to QAnon? Anyway, we got a million things we got to get to, so let's touch base with the audience, see what's going on. I can see, by the way, there are a lot of you here. So
Hell yeah.
I do appreciate that. We've already passed 3,000 likes. What do you know? Thank you, everybody. That's still about 13,000 of you that are slacking. But we'll allow it. You know what? Because today's a festive day. We've got a new environment and all that. And we've got new soundproofing behind Francesca. Okay, so let's see. Franklin Sharpslicer is in saying, the smoke from the West States have reached Wyoming, making it look like the Twilight Zone. Looks like a Martian sky. Can't help but exude a sigh. Can anything perk me up today? Yes, Kellyanne Conway going away. Yay, life is good. Thank you, Franklin Sharpslicer. Yeah, we're gonna get to it. Don't worry. Isabel says, "Fantastic Mondays. Love you guys. Be safe, John, please. We're being super safe, and thank you, Roberto Rodriguez, as well. There's literally no one else in the building. I am alone. I can and have been running around screaming all morning. Let's see. Kai Allen says, I like the hybrid, John, of lockdown TDR and the before times. Happy Monday. You both look amazing. Hashtag I want more trucks.
Yes.
Jason Tastrophe says, I love Franny Mondays. Thank you. F. Harvey says, what's up, my peeps? I love me some Francesca and John. Tons of love from France. Thank you. One of our great former employees returned home to France, so you guys have become a little bit stronger, a little bit better with that.
Very smart move.
Let's see. John Jackson says, yes, show us the undies. No. Stephanie says, yay, Francesca Monday. I was super excited when she liked my comment on Instagram the other night. Hashtag show us the undies. Jake says he might promote the Trump undies, quote, fill 'em ups instead of pull 'em ups.
Oh, God.
Disgusting. Oh. AJ, thank you. Dustin says, love John and Franafio. Happy Monday. The RNC will be truly horrifying. Bring a barf bag.
Mm-hmm.
Not a bad call. Jenna says, does your shirt say what I think it is? So I got a bag of shirts from TYT, and I have to say that I was fairly satisfied when this came.
Wow.
I do like it.
I need that.
Heading over to Twitter, Carlton C on hashtag TDR Live says, the new RNC platform, since it's broke, we sure ain't going to fix it. Yeah, and multiple of them are still, like, I guess there's no point in pointing this out, but all of them are running with the, look at the chaos in American cities. That's the future you'll have under Biden. Like, multiple speakers today were saying that. But we have that right now. Biden's not the president. I don't understand that point, but I'm not going to be able to get through to them, so whatever. Jody Lynn says, keeping away from the Trumps, that's his next reality show aspiration. Funny. Liberal Snowflake says, what if we tore down the border wall and made it into a hiking trail?
Please.
Sounds nice. Said that he watched Last Week Tonight. I didn't, actually. That's the reason I haven't made Francesca suffer through me talking about John Oliver. I haven't watched it yet. We watched Lovecraft Country instead. Okay, Eclectic Miscellaneous says, sorry, Francesca, I usually agree with you, but I definitely think a better hashtag would be hashtag please, dear God, don't show us the undies RNC 2020. It's a long one, though.
No. This president's not going out until we know what is in his pants. I want him to show everybody. I'm serious. I'm straight up serious.
Ugh. Okay, and over at Twitch, Pinkerbell Pixie says, seeing John in studio again is weird, but good. That's the most I've ever aspired to. Weird, but good. Let's see. Skatari says, no, the studio came to him. Overtired 2 says, Trump is going to expand the U.S. all the way to the Pacific Ocean. I think he should put that in a platform. It's a big goal, but I think he should shoot for it.
God. I mean, we're refighting every other war. Let's do the Mexican-American War.
Yeah, let's do it.
As well, we're doing the Civil War. We'll just go through.
I will finalize the Louisiana Purchase. Plus Greenland. Anyway, okay, let's transition to sadder news. Many of you have probably already seen going around since late yesterday in Kenosha, Wisconsin, another absolutely horrendous incident of needless police brutality involving the shooting multiple times of one Jacob Blake. We had a long talk about whether to show the footage. We have basically landed on not showing it protects the cops from people understanding just how needless, how unacceptable, how impossible to understand the situation is. So we're going to show you the footage, but I want you to understand that this is footage of a person being shot. It is graphic, so proceed if you will. Here is the footage.
Graphic video posted on Facebook shows the moment an encounter between Jacob Blake and Kenosha police quickly escalated. Screams rang out as police fired at least 7 shots Sunday evening. Blake appears to have been shot in the back as he entered the driver's side of an SUV at gunpoint. His children were reportedly in the vehicle. It is unclear whether police believe they saw a weapon.
And I wouldn't care anyway. And I'm not at this point interested in what the cops have to say about that very much. Now, Jacob Blake was transported to the hospital in serious condition, according to police. His father said on Facebook that his son is alive and in stable condition. Family friend Daniel Poneman tweeted that Blake is out of surgery in the ICU and is expected to make it, which I have to say that after seeing that footage, seems like a miracle. I can't imagine how anyone could survive what the cops did to him.
Yes, I'm so thankful that this story ends in his survival and just like thinking of his family and the entire community and what they had to go through and what they are going through. I just watched that video and I think, cowards. What effing cowards the police are. You do not deserve a gun, a badge, anything. Let's continue to talk about defunding the police. Let's talk about demilitarizing the police. All right. I saw that video first on my phone. It's kind of small. And I was like, well, maybe this officer mistakenly shot him, right? Sort of like, maybe the gun went off. Looking at it again, there's a lot of intention in that police officer and what he did, and grabbing him by the shirt. Even as soon as he opened the car door, it seemed like he was going to shoot him for whatever reason. I'm sure he'll claim that he feared for his life. These are cowards. They don't deserve to police our streets. They don't deserve to protect us. And absolutely, we can't forget the racism that is involved in shooting a man in the back while his family is watching.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Absolute cowards. Insane. And this is, what else could you expect from a system that trains cops that if you are ever scared at all, if you get a single goosebump, just start shooting. Just shoot and shoot over and over. Empty every bullet you have. If you ever get one tingle of fear, then start shooting. Oh, and by the way, Black people, you should be as scared of them as possible. Every time you see them, you should be terrified. And if you get terrified, you should start shooting. We teach them those two things societally and in terms of police training. And this is the only possible outcome to that. God, you shoot a person in the back and you shoot them that many times. There are police officers in other countries that you would expect you would never fire that many shots in your career as a police officer. And they unload into a guy's back with the children just feet away having to watch that, believing that their father has been brutally murdered in front of them and could still die. Thankfully has not. It is just a miracle that he has not. By the way, can we show the picture of the victim and the kids that had to watch this totally needless violence from the police again? That he should have to go through this, that we've gone through all these protests for months, and he couldn't know that, he probably feared that he would be one of those people that would be attacked in this way, but couldn't know it. And those cops have just been going about their day, just waiting for their opportunity to participate in this. And, maybe with a couple more days, we'll find out about their record if they've engaged in any violence before. But this is absolutely insane. And they haven't said yet if they thought that he had a gun. Every single right-winger who is already saying that Jacob was asking for it believes that gun owners deserve more rights than literally anyone in the world. Yes. When those militia members were pointing their rifles in a standoff with cops, nobody was saying that's justification for the cops to shoot them. But he had a gun. What threatening thing was he was doing? He was facing away from them into a car packed with his children, and that was too much. I don't care if he has a gun, if he doesn't have a gun. It doesn't matter. Totally no justification for what happened.
None at all. Absolutely right. I mean, and I think, back to what you were saying, what is it like? Is it in training that when your fellow police officer starts shooting, you immediately have to join in? Why was Breonna Taylor shot that many times, right? By 3 cops? What is this? Why are we shooting to kill? You don't think that one shot, obviously, which is completely unnecessary
and unacceptable.
Unacceptable that one shot wouldn't stop someone, even if you did fear for your life. Come on. That's proof that it's all BS. And when I say demilitarize the police, I absolutely agree with that. What if that was a taser instead of a gun? Right? Why not? And the only reason we can't demilitarize the police is it's because we've got way too many guns among the population. So gun control is absolutely part of this discussion. I know that we don't love to make them one because we're like, oh my gosh, too much to think about. But it really is. I do believe in keeping police officers safe. It isn't an easy job. But I also believe there are many other weapons that you can use that aren't guns. And I also believe we need to get other guns off the streets.
Yeah, we send them everywhere loaded to take down an elephant. Everywhere they go, and they're trained to use it. They're not trained. It is not a last resort. Nobody gets to pretend that that's what's actually going on. And they get backed into a corner and they have to do it. They're trained to take out their gun at a moment's notice. Doesn't matter if it's a kid, whatever, take out your gun. And if you just, oh God, if you feel scared, even briefly, just begin shooting and don't stop until you've run out of bullets. And everyone around you, as you pointed out, needs to start shooting too. It's absolute madness.
Because we will protect you. Because the police unions and the DAs and the prosecutors, everyone will protect you.
Yep.
And that's why you have to charge the cops and arrest the cops and sentence the cops, because otherwise that protection will still reign.
And I saw Bernie was calling for that. As of right now, the cops have been put on administrative leave. Well, that's good. So they don't have to work, but they get paid. That's wonderful. That's consequences right there. And right now we're in the middle of the RNC where all they have to say about the police is we need to fund them more. We need to increase consequences for people who do anything to the cops that the cops don't like. In Tennessee, I think it might have been Indiana, one of the two states, if you camp out on state property as a part of a protest, they have changed the penalty from a misdemeanor to a felony. So you will literally lose your right to vote if you protest. The Free Speech Brigade online must be losing it over this. Dave Rubin, his head just exploded when he saw that. Yes. Literally being stripped of your democratic rights if you camp somewhere they don't like. But weird, no, they don't talk about that. I guess they must mean some other sort of speech when they talk about that. Okay, let's go into something else that seems completely unacceptable, but not everybody agrees. The pandemic continues. 1,000+ people dying still on average every single day seems to me, and probably to most of you, to be unacceptable. But for certain type of people, not necessarily, because a poll went out. The number of U.S. deaths from coronavirus has it been acceptable or has it been not acceptable? Turns out it depends on your party identification. Let's bring this up. 57% of Republicans think it's acceptable. 177,000 deaths and rising every minute is acceptable. I accept it. It's okay. Now, we knew they accepted it. We knew that they didn't have a problem with it, but they will actually say that they're okay with it. What a failure of a country, of a people, that you can get that result. Yeah. CBS News, not just some random online poll. It's not Reddit. It's not 4chan. They're like, no. Yeah, 177,000. If Obama had 7, I would literally never stop talking about it. But 177,000, yeah, no, that's good. And I want more of this. I want 4 more years of everything that 2020 has been.
I mean, it is hard to have empathy for folks like this and try to understand that mindset. It is back to the age-old, are all Trump supporters racist? Yes, I think so. Enough to overlook the racism, right? Which is racist in and of itself. Mm-hmm. But, they're following their leader. That's exactly what Trump wants them to say. And I think truly, and we know that this isn't really the case, that it is indiscriminate when it comes to who can be infected, age, race, it doesn't matter. But that disproportionately, COVID is hitting the Black and brown community. African Americans, Latinos, Native Americans, Polynesians, I know in Los Angeles County, for example, are suffering far worse. They have higher mortality rates. And so if you aren't from those communities / you love to demonize them and other them, well, they're not in your beloved community under Jesus Christ. You know what I mean? Like they're expendable. This is what he would have wanted. Q said, etc. Yep. At the end of the day, it's eugenics. At the end of the day, you're okay with people who don't look like you dying. And hey, they must have deserved it. Yeah. So, I mean, I want to say, well, those Republicans, there must be fewer people identifying as Republican. Hey, independents are 67%. Not say it's unacceptable. Maybe some of them went to the independent side. Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah, that's possible. Let's bring back up that chart, because 10% of Democrats are like, yeah, no, I accept this. Oh yeah, a lot of people died, but yeah, no, that's okay. I'm okay with that. 1 in 10 Democrats. I mean, I guess 10% of anyone will say whatever you want, and yes, okay, so 43% of Republicans say it's not acceptable. Are they not merciful? I ask you, are they not merciful?
Honestly, I mean, but this is the thing with like, oh, well, only 3% of the population would die. That's like 3 million people, right? Or whatever the math is, it's millions and millions of people. Are you okay with that many people dying, including potentially your own family? Yeah. I mean, it's only a small percentage. What? More than every foreign war we fought. A Vietnam plus a Vietnam plus an Afghanistan and like 85 9/11s.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like 85, it's like 3 Vietnams. I don't know if I will remember to bring this graphic back every time, but like just fill it in mentally for yourself. When I refer to it not as a party, but as a death cult, this is what I mean. They're okay with us all dying. They're fine with it. 57%. We have failed worse than any other country, and we're more okay with failure than any other country. I look at this. I know it's boring and people stop watching when I talk about the nature of reality and whether we have a good grasp of it and whether we care about what we believe is true is actually true, right? That's abstract. It's removed from people's lives. 75% of Republicans say the U.S. is in better condition than it was 4 years ago. They didn't say that in January. They said that now. 2020, all the jokes, worst year ever, right? Am I right? Worst year ever? No, 3 out of 4 Republicans are like, this is better than 2016. Now, I'll grant you, 2016 sucked, but the unemployment rate is like twice as high. The economy's destroyed, right? Don't they talk about how we have to recover? 1,000 people are dying from a totally needless pandemic right now. They say it's better than it was, and Trump deserves credit for that. I agree he deserves credit for the state of 2020, but man, 25% of America at large says it's better off than 4 years ago. What is our world? What is left to us at this point? Can a country be insane? Has a country ever had the collective delusions that ours is suffering under? Consequential delusions.
Yes. I think that, look, once the myths of this country become so fragile, they get more and more shrill. I mean, I think we can, that 25%, I'm looking at Fox News directly, right? Like the folks who say that things are better, I'm looking at Fox News directly. And when you have more and more people in agreement that we need things like Medicare for all, we need things like, accessible or tuition-free college, that we need to have our debt relieved, when it comes to going to school, that we need better education, all the things, that we have to rein in climate. Once there's more consensus, there's the other side will be shriller and shriller and shriller. Once we start to talk about, hey, maybe, we haven't really reckoned with our history of slavery. You're anti-American, so this, it makes sense. It makes sense that, they are leading the charge for people of lemmings off the cliff. So yes, I think it gets shriller. It's darkest before the dawn. It's shrillest before the dawn. And I hope we get to that dawn.
Jeez, oh God. No, that's enough news for now. We'll come back to it in a few minutes. I'm gonna read some comments and stuff. Oh God. British sent us in a super chat saying, Jesus, being a cop in America is only profession where you have a 50-50 chance of getting away with murder. I like your super chat, but you think it's 50-50? They don't convict 50%. When? What? Is it 5%? They get convicted? I don't think it's 5%. Anyway, Susan Chenoweth says TDR just went over 17,500 viewers. Congratulations. No, thank you. That's very nice of you. Thank you for tuning in. I know it's a week where a lot of people are going to be really paying attention to politics, obviously. Let's see. Over in the Twitch, Pinkerbell Pixie gifting a tier 1 sub. Thank you for doing that. Very nice of you. Tinny Martinian as well. And Maniac Rashly? You're going to have to tell me, Maniac, how to pronounce that. Has gifted 30 subs. So thank you very much for that. Very nice of you. Okay, let's see. Over on Twitch, JustGen Period has shared an adorable dog. Do you guys know that if you follow hashtag TDR Live, you will see adorable dogs every day around this time? Melissa Matrice says, I was in 5th grade when Bush was running for president. I, being weird and opinionated, wrote a parody about the election to the tune of Jingle Bells and ended up on our school news. Thus, my intro to politics. That's more fun. I like yours better. CDN North Sky says, when you run the RNC this week, use hashtag Crazy Train as the theme music. I'm sure Ozzy would not mind. I don't know that song, but I'm sure that Bart does.
I wanted to mention that Tyson Sainer on Twitter says that 3% of 327 million people is 9.8 million people, almost 10 million people. That's the numbers people are touting as like, well, only 3% would get infected.
Yeah.
10 million people.
Yeah. Ugh. You know what? Let's talk about how Trump is going to try to turn this thing around. Okay. One or two more super chats. I need to mentally let some of the heat down in my brain. But okay. Mark Keister says, Adam Christensen won his primary in my district, Florida 03. Will you please consider bringing him on the show? I thought that we had reached out to the campaign. I will bring that up again. We're trying to get as many good candidates on as we can. Jason Tastrophe says, sadder news sounds like Saturday, but more sad. Unrelated, but please give Franny my phone number. I can't do that, but thank you for the super chat. Zane says Bill Maher is Q. He's been admitting it recently. Makes as much sense as literally anything else. And it would be a comedic bit of his that I didn't really understand, which is appropriate.
I get it. Like I bet he is Q. I would.
Might be.
I definitely.
Charles Massey says, what no board beamed? Francesca isn't reporting from the black snow background anymore. I like the black snow background. I thought that looked good.
I swear, you guys, that black snow is beautiful greenery, red carpet style, step and repeat.
Are you looking at it right now?
I'm looking at it. It's beautiful. But no, I've been shamed. And my hot glue gun has gone to waste.
I liked it. Maybe someday it'll see a return. Maybe we could vote in the chat. Andrew John says, John is a neutral good fighter. Franny, chaotic good bard. Performance comedy. Happy to catch a stream. Thanks, guys. Andrew, thank you. That's D&D talk for you, Francesca. Tyler Wisdom says, oh, did you? Is that what a D&D player looks like to you? I play D&D.
No,
okay.
this is too jockey.
People do. Tyler Wisdom says, good morning from Austin, Texas, y'all. Can I get a birthday shout out to my partner, Lane? Her leg was shattered almost a month ago. TDR has been one of our greatest reprieves during the slow recovery. Lane, hope that you're feeling better. I love and miss Austin. I lived there for more than 5 years while I went to grad school at UT Austin, and I really wish that I could visit, but I can't visit anywhere. So I can't visit Santa Monica. Anyway. Okay, so apparently I am shaking the camera when I hit the table. And there are very bold letters telling me to stop that. Okay, I'm going to have to come up with something to avoid that because I like hitting the table. It's my right. And I'm going to keep doing it. Anyway, with that, let's jump back into it. I don't know if B-roll is coming, so I'm just going to give it a second. I don't want to cut it off. Hey, there it is. Okay, good. See? The instincts are there. I didn't cover for it well. But anyway, Donald Trump has been on a storm talking about the FDA and vaccines, tweeting over the weekend, the deep state, or whoever, over at the FDA is making it very difficult for drug companies to get people in order to test the vaccines and therapeutics. Obviously, they are hoping to delay the answer until after November 3rd. Must focus on speed. Oh, I bet you do, buddy. And saving lives. Okay, so the FDA is the deep state, and they don't want a vaccine because a vaccine would help Trump. So they are willingly pushing it off so that more people die to hurt Trump. That's what he's saying. It's not just him. According to two sources in a Monday meeting this last week, Donald Trump's trade advisor, why is the trade advisor in this story? I don't know, but that's the White House. Peter Navarro aggressively confronted FDA officials saying, you are all deep state and you need to get on Trump time. That's the expression Navarro uses to describe the speed that he says Trump demands. Not that Trump does anything. He's a lazy sack, but that's what he wants people to do. Yeah, so the trade advisor is also calling the FDA deep state. So they're all deep state, and they're trying to stop you from getting a vaccine. Thoughts?
God, this one hurts. But like, imagine you've worked for the FDA, even for just a few years, and someone just points a finger at you. You're a deep state. Get on Trump time. Yeah. like, can you just, like, you can't. you want to, this is the whole, the age-old question, right? Do you stay and try to do good, or do you leave and or get fired because you're not able to do your actual job? Can I just say, when it comes to the vaccine, Trump, if there is a vaccine, which of course, John, you're absolutely right. It makes no sense. Like the entire argument the FDA is like withholding a vaccine is utterly ridiculous. But even if there was, do you think he would throw his anti-vax base under the bus in order to tell people to go out and get this vaccine? No. As soon as if there's a vaccine, Trump will be like, if you want it, do it. I hear it does things. It does weird things. We can't talk about the things. It's like, what? What are you talking about? Like, no, look, we already have a flu vaccine. People are being told to get their flu shots this season so that they don't compound it with COVID. And there's a lot of folks who are like, nah, I'm good. For whatever reason, I'm good. And again, the anti-vax thing is insidious. It keeps going and going and going. And Trump absolutely would play into that. So it's so bonkers that he would ever promote a vaccine. Unless he could actually buy it and put his name on it, and he personally would make money from it, which we maybe is the case with hydroxychloroquine, he wouldn't be pro-vax.
Yeah, I think that in the end, once it's available and it's out there, I agree. He will start to mimic that stuff. And Fox News already has. Jeanine Pirro said she won't under any circumstances take it. You can't trust the vaccines and all of that. But here is like the weird thing. It's that a lot of the vax people, who aren't necessarily all right-wing, there are lefties who are anti-vax and all that, that is being absorbed by Q, like all conspiracy theories are. The lizard people, the Illuminati, flat earth, all of it is getting into the Q thing. So they don't like vaccines, but they like everything that Trump says and believes that he's right. So they think he's right to say that the FDA is the deep state because the FDA is abiding by safety regulations, and they think that the FDA shouldn't abide by those safety regulations, even though they believe that vaccines aren't safe. They think the FDA should expedite it, making it less safe, and they probably won't take it, but they think that it's awful that it's being blocked,
right? Because
it should be out there so Trump can get reelected, but they'd never take it because that's how the machines get inside you. None of it makes any sense. And again, that's the worldview. You can believe anything you want, no matter how internally contradictory it is. Just believe what makes you feel good. And by the way, the vaccine that they're blocking from being developed is to cure a disease that they don't believe exists. And if it does exist, it's not really dangerous and it's not killing anyone. But how dare they block the vaccine for it, even though it's not real? None of this makes any sense. I'm not making any sense, but that is really what they believe. They don't think the disease is real. Okay. Now here's where it gets even darker. So Donald Trump tweeting about how the FDA is deep state and all of that. This is not just random. Okay. There is a reason that he is putting pressure on them, and we should be worried about it because there are reasons to believe that he is going to push for this vaccine no matter the costs before the election. President Donald Trump is considering bypassing the standard testing procedures according to the Financial Times because he wants it before the election. He's apparently considering pressuring the U.S. FDA to issue an emergency use authorization for a British vaccine in October. So he's going to wait until right before the election, supposedly, and then say that we're going to be using it here in America. The company developing it, AstraZeneca, said it hasn't discussed such an order with the Trump administration, which might be true, might not. We'll see. The British vaccine appeared relatively safe, to its credit, in a study of 1,000 patients reported in The Lancet late last month, though with several side effects. But here's a significant caveat. It's still not known if the vaccine prevents COVID or even lessens symptoms. So it turns out it doesn't appear to kill you, although it provides some side effects. We just have no idea if it does anything. So why not rush it to market? And it could be months before they do the larger trials on a larger population of people to see if it actually will prevent that. But we can't wait for that because it's got to be rushed out 2 weeks before the election to provide a boost to Donald Trump. That seems to be the plan.
Look, they will sell beet supplements that what's the former NRA chick who's currently hawking? Dana
Loesch.
Lash, I don't know. Whatever her name is and however I'm supposed to, like, she's hawking them. You got Alex Jones on the supplements. Milo, my favorite moment of last year, I think it was Milo taking those supplements on Alex Jones' show. So good.
I like beets. I could get behind that.
I like beets, but roasted. Like, if you could just make the vaccine in roasted beets, would love it. Little goat cheese, little arugula.
That's how it gets to the lizard center of the brain faster.
Oh, right.
But anyway, yeah, no, they're like, as soon as I read this, I was thinking, well, yeah, no, of course. What? Because what is he not going to rush a vaccine out right before the election, like in the week or two before the election? Why? Because it's unethical? Because it's dangerous? Because it's dishonest? What does that have to do with literally anything in American politics? He's 100% going to do that. He's 1,000%. I understand that's not how percents work. He's totally going to do that. And I just hope that Joe Biden and his campaign are planning for that. Because there's no way now that that's not going to be the October surprise. Maybe we invade Iran too. I'm not sure about that. But definitely they're announcing a vaccine. Whether it ends up coming or not. He could announce a week before the election that we're giving emergency use authorization to that AstraZeneca thing. AstraZeneca could come out the next day and say, they've literally never talked to us about this, and it's not ready to go. So what does that have to do with anything? What, because people will realize that he was being dishonest? No, it'll swing 1 million votes in a few swing states, and he'll win. I'm terrified of this now. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it or underthinking it. I don't know. But I think he is totally going to do this. And America, above all, just wants to go back to the froyo place. And so this will be a very powerful, albeit 100% dishonest message in the closing days of the election.
I'm worried he's going to give people, like, held out until the last minute, and then Congress and the Senate is just going to pass, enhanced unemployment benefits again, even more relief, paycheck protection, et cetera, right before the election. That, to me, is what I'm more worried about. But it's true that sort of like his base potentially is more interested in miracle cures than anything else. A lot of things. Look, the October surprise, who knows? Who knows?
I don't know. It's exciting. I can't wait to find out. They should pass the enhanced unemployment right now. Would it help Trump? Probably. Good. It would also help the people who are out of work.
Yes.
Pass it right now. I wish that they would. Doesn't seem like that's much of a priority. I mean, obviously the Democrats took the last week off, and now the RNC is taking the week off for, the reality show. Nothing looks like it's going to happen anytime soon. Okay. Quick check-in with the super chats. Oh, yes. Let me also let you know that we are closing in on the last week of August. And so obviously this has been a rough time. How rough? It's taken almost 6 months for even me to return solo to the audience, to the studio. And because of that, we have been relying on our audience to keep us afloat during this time. We've been doing this fundraiser at tyt.com/go for months now. And thankfully, every month we've reached our goals. Despite, that everybody's going through hard times, you all have been incredibly generous in helping support us, and we couldn't thank you more. We are still doing that, though, and we have just 1 week to go to meet our August goals. And so if you can't give, no one understands that more than me. But if you are lucky enough to be in a position where you can, even if it's just a couple of dollars, please go to tyt.com/go. We are hoping for TYT to continue, even if this pandemic continues. And so we'll have to see. So hopefully if you can, tyt.com/go, we'd really appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, let's see. Melinda Anderson sent us a super chat saying, are you going to talk about the devastation in Iowa? Apparently Trump only showed up for 30 minutes. People in Iowa are pissed. No, I hadn't planned on talking about it. Obviously, my heart goes out to the people who've been devastated by the storm. And it seems like if you're just going to go for 30 minutes, don't go at all. I can understand why that would be sort of like insult to injury. Especially because I didn't even see him talking about that.
No.
Okay. Amy B says, the RNC will be a circus with balloons and pony rides, but Trump is the clown from It, and we're all floating down here. Yeah. Okay. Michael says, love your content. Keep it up. It is what it is. Thank you. You know what? Our tech situation and studio situation is what it is. Fred says, you have no right to destabilize the camera. You're infringing on my visual rights. I apologize. Sorry about that. in America, we will let you take away our right to vote, but not our right to not have shaky cam. Ginger Red Shoe says the Q-fueled cognitive dissonance hurts me too, John. It hurts me too. Yeah. Okay. Over on, oh my God, when I mentioned dogs, hashtag TDR Live delivered.
Yes.
Because Daniel K. Lilly III has a photo of him walking 8 dogs, I think it is, beating the record of a photo I have on my Instagram of 6. Liberal Snowflake with an adorable dog. Behooves you with an adorable child. Okay, so normally we're more into dogs, but very cute child. Thank you
if
for that.
If it's on a leash, we will accept.
Yeah, there's also a dog in there, to be fair. There's also.
Oh.
Okay, and over on Twitch, Francis the Rogue says, this morning my 84-year-old neighbor told me that her brother died in World War II so that she did not have to wear a mask because this is America. I told her she was selfish. Sheesh. He wore masks in the war. Like in America, we believe that drinking soy milk makes you not a man. But what makes you a man is insisting that literally no one could bear having to have a bit of cloth over their face. These are the standards for masculinity in America. It doesn't make any sense. The guy who like one of the people who shot bin Laden wouldn't wear a mask on a flight. Like he wears full camo as part of his job. He won't wear even a mask to not potentially give people in a crammed environment a lethal virus. We are the worst people. We are. I know.
I mean, that's the thing. If you could shoot the virus, everyone would get their guns.
Yeah.
And shoot it. And this is when suddenly we have to do a non-violent thing and be momentarily uncomfortable. Can't do it. Sorry, freedoms.
Yeah. So, in the YouTube chat, Nick Hill says, John, they're a pro-life party. Why wouldn't they be okay with 177,000 dead Americans in a few months? Good point. Man, pro-life. Has there ever been a least appropriate label? Okay. Let's jump back into the news and let's close a little bit lighter. We're going to be saying goodbye to someone today. Kellyanne Conway is apparently on her way out. Nobody saw that coming. I saw a tweet that with the Bannon announcement and now Kellyanne Conway, the writers of this whole thing are really wrapping up those plot threads in the last few months. But Kellyanne Conway is going to be gone. And she sent out a message saying, I will be transitioning from the White House at the end of this month. George is also making changes. We disagreed about plenty, but we are united on what matters most, the kids. Our 4 children are teens and tweens starting a new academic year in middle school and high school remotely from home for at least a few months. As millions of parents nationwide know, kids doing school from home require a level of attention and vigilance that is as unusual as these times. Yeah, why are these times so unusual, Kellyanne? No, you don't want to be more specific? And George tweeted, so I'm withdrawing from Project Lincoln to devote more time to family matters, and I'll be taking a Twitter hiatus. Needless to say, I continue to support the Lincoln Project and its mission passionately. So that's the parents. We'll get to the rest of the family in just a minute, but Kellyanne Conway is going to be leaving. We're going to say goodbye to her formally with a video montage later on, but what do you think, Francesca? Did you see this coming?
Please tell me there's, I will remember you.
Exactly.
Did not see this coming, but I gotta say, I do not like Kellyanne Conway. Obviously, she is the griftiest of the grifters, and has made me actually feel crazy, like physically ill and crazy at the same time. But like their family therapist is doing a very good job right now. Like this is what they've needed to do. She's still been in this marriage with George. Now the kids, are getting a little lefty. I think we've seen some of that. And so
maybe Antifa.
No, but this is the thing. It's like, I think, is it wrong to say I'm kind of happy for this couple that I don't have any personal connection to and actually don't really care about? And, like they're both Republicans. Yeah. Like, who cares? Why?
Yeah.
But, like, good for them on a family level of like, hey, we're going to maybe take a break and like work some stuff out because we've been publicly fighting for a very long time. Mm-hmm. And our personal lives have been dragged out into the public sphere. Let's reclaim a little bit of that.
Yeah, I guess in an abstract sense, I wish this couple the best. Marriage is difficult in the best of times, and thanks to Kellyanne Conway's work, in no small part, we're not in the best of times. George is probably also pretty terrible. I don't know much about him. But anyway, yeah, no, I hope for their family's sake, at least, that they actually use this time well. We'll see, though. Let's add a little bit of context to this. Claudia Conway, their, I believe, 15-year-old daughter, who, because in America, we really do want dynasties, has like 500,000 Twitter followers. That's weird. But anyway, she tweeted, "My mother's job ruined my life to begin with. Heartbreaking that she continues to go down that path after years of watching her children suffer. Selfish. It's all about money and fame, ladies and gentlemen." Yeah, look, totally. I mean, we pointed out the grift. I don't disagree with that. Saying it on social media, that's it seems like it's part of it. But anyway, she said, "I'm officially pushing for emancipation. Buckle up, because this is probably going to be public one way or another, unfortunately." But it is a tweet, though, so it's definitely public right now as you're tweeting that. Welcome to my life. And look, I feel terrible for her, obviously. No kid, especially no 15-year-old, should have to go through any of this. It's got to be devastating. And to know that your parents, in different ways, sort of support a lot of the ideology of what she appears to, not agree with, that's got to be devastating. And hopefully this will help. But I just, and again, I'm a dinosaur. I don't TikTok or whatever. I will grant you that. I think that the last thing all of this needs is to be more public and online. That would be my guess. I don't think that helps anyone. It's totally their right to do that if they want to, even down to the teens. If that's what they want to do, they can do it. And I hope that it works. I just don't think that that's going to help, probably.
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about Claudia Conway. But I will say, being a young woman and online and having lots of followers, and whether you like it or not, being in the public sphere, I'm rooting for her. I'm like, she's on TikTok going like, "Let's talk about socialism." Like, she really is. And I'm like, let's talk about socialism.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm rooting for her that, first of all, she can live a normal life and actually develop away from social media, i.e. away from sort of the lure of the grift, because I think having that many followers, becoming your own brand, I don't know, super young, like you could easily fall, like, look at your mom, you know what I mean? It's easy to fall into the grift. But it seems like she's asking interesting questions, and she's representing this, like, progressive leftist youth that I think is very curious right now. And I kind of love her for that.
Yeah, totally.
So she must be upset, of course, that like her mom's like, because there's only thing worse than Kellyanne Conway being in the Trump administration is Kellyanne Conway being in your own home. That's gotta suck.
Be careful what you wish for. Yeah, and look, obviously she, like, what we say, we don't know exactly what to feel. I don't want to have any feelings about any 15-year-old, honestly. Like, honestly, like what was social media like when I was 15? We had ICQ. You all watched, you don't even know what that is. And we had AOL Instant Messenger. That was as public, and I think I had a GeoCities page with a message board or like a guest book. That's all, and a ticker for when someone went to the site. I wish everyone the best, including Claudia, especially because she seems far more left than the rest of the family, so clearly she's the best of the family. Having 500,000 followers or 1 million followers or 5 million followers, I don't know that any teen can not be significantly affected by that in ways that are probably not going to be universally good. You could do it. You could totally do it. And there's lots of famous young people that have that on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube. That's been YouTube for literally years. None of this is new, but I do have a lot of worries about what, like, you can't, like, people in their 30s that become famous really fast are ruined by it most of the time. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, but the thing is, Kellyanne Conway is going away. We might not get much more Kellyanne Conway, so we thought we would just do a little bit of a walk back through some of her notable moments. So our producer, Marissa, put together this mashup. Take a look.
Don't be so overly dramatic about it, Chuck. You're saying it's a falsehood, and they're giving Sean Spicer, our press secretary, gave alternative facts to that. But the point remains.
Wait a minute. Alternative facts?
Obama had a 6-month ban on the Iraqi refugee program after 2 Iraqis came here to this country, were radicalized, and they were the masterminds behind the Bowling Green massacre. Most people don't know that because it didn't get covered.
The Bowling Green massacre that Conway mentioned never happened.
Do you think I ran a campaign where white supremacists had a platform? You gonna look me in the face and tell me that?
It did. Kellyanne
really?
did.
Oh, and that's how you lost?
It did.
Do you think you could have just had a decent message for the white working class voters? Do you think this woman who has nothing in common with
I'm not saying that's what you want.
It's Hillary Clinton. She doesn't connect with people. How about they have nothing in common with her? First of all, his entire America First campaign doctrine is that he would always look out for the interests of this country. And North Korea and the rest of the world would know, Charlie, that President Trump and Vice President Pence aren't messing around with anybody who's trying to threaten our lives.
You do about North Korea if they had the capacity.
Would it be
He
diplomatic
would make
or
sure
military response?
he would make sure that they would never use it.
How?
He's not going to reveal all of his plans now. He's made that very clear. And maybe somebody can ask him in a debate. Americans
did that. Can you imagine what we would say to them?
I'm not going to bring my kids into this.
I will. If my kid did something like that, it'd be a really tough day.
But look, you have to listen to what the president-elect has said about that. Why don't you believe him? Why does everything taken at face value? 62% of Americans, according to CNN's polling, said Hillary Clinton can't tell the truth about anything, and yet
she was right behind her.
No, she was given the benefit of the doubt here constantly.
When?
You can't give him the benefit of the doubt on this, and he's telling you what was in his heart. You always want to go by what's come out of his mouth rather than look at what's.
The only thing that's in his heart is Filet-O-Fish. We know that. Yeah, that was in reference to him doing the physical mocking of a reporter who has a physical disability. Yeah, no, I don't care what's in his heart. There's nothing in his heart. It's ash. It's waste in his heart. He was mocking a guy for his physical disability. Literally everyone knows that. I don't think that it's bombastic to say that Donald Trump is far and away, whatever word you want to apply, the worst, the biggest, the most hyperbolic liar that we have ever experienced as a country in public office, in a public position. No one lies worse than Donald Trump. Anyway, God, she was good at her job, I guess, because she would just keep going no matter how absurd it was with her collusion, delusion signs and stuff like that. But she was just a massive, massive liar. And I kind of wish that she had not been put on so much over and over and over.
Oh, gosh, absolutely. Keeps having her on. That was one of the best SNL sketches, was calling Kellyanne Pennywise, and Kate McKinnon playing Kellyanne. So good.
She had a good one.
Stalking Jake Tapper. Like, why do you keep having me on the show? Have me on. I have to say, I've never seen someone with such a small brain, like just with so little to work with, do so much. I mean, I don't think she's necessarily not smart. I'm just saying, like, her worldview is this. She has this much to work with in the Trump administration, and she did a lot with it. She spun the Trump administration in a bazillion different ways, backwards and forwards, left to right. Like, she truly was able to do a lot when it came to lying for this president. So, honestly, better than I think I've ever seen. Whereas Sean Spicer sort of like froze up and didn't know what to do. Kellyanne just kept running her mouth and was able to do a lot. My favorite part of that was, are you saying that, like, we gave a platform to a white supremacist? That couldn't be what you're saying. Yes, that's exactly what we're saying. And you know you did.
Totally. Yeah. And she expected, well, no, we're all super polite to each other. So if I just make it about me, are you going to say that to my face? And so I'm glad that whoever that was said, yeah, no, you totally have, and you will continue to, and it'll only get worse. I also loved the little throwback where she's like, I'm not going to bring my kids into this. Yeah, but you are, though. You're going to bring your kids into this. Yeah. Bye.
Bye, Felicia.
Good. Now, I guess more of the weight passes to Kayleigh. Let's see if she's up for it. To shoulder all of that lying on one person, that's a big ask, but she does seem to have no soul, so I think that she might be up for it. Anyway.
He is the North Korean of the United States propaganda machine, Kayleigh McEnany.
Lying.
I believe in her.
It's a death cult of personality. That's all it is. The lies that she would tell for him. The chief of staff said Trump reads so much that I have to read late into the night to keep up. No, you don't. So don't think that. You're lying. You're lying. He doesn't even read TV Guide. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us, Francesca, the first guest on the return to the studio. Let it be noted in the scrolls for all time. Where can people see more of your work? I hear that you were busy yesterday.
Oh gosh, so busy. Yes, check out the Bitchuation Room podcast every Sunday, 6 p.m., 9 p.m. Eastern. You can find it on all the podcast platforms. Spoke to Nomiki Konst and Aaron Gloria Ryan of Hysteria yesterday about the DNC. Yeah, it was a great discussion. And yeah, follow me on all the socials at Franny Fio.
Sounds good. Well, thank you as always. Good luck if you watch the RNC later. Please drink. It will provide a little bit of protection against the corrosive mental damage. And thank you. We'll see you soon.
Thank you. Take care.
And for those of you at home, let's read just a few more messages from everyone. Raleigh Jones says, John, you are redefining masculinity. You mentioned a man crush once, forget who, but I've seen you disgusted, patient, amazingly poignant, and even in tears. You're a true man. I love you, brother. That's really nice. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to try not to do that again right now, but thank you. I do appreciate that. Very nice of you. I don't remember who the man crush was. Was it The Rock? He's pretty cool. I don't know. Let's see. Omar says, why aren't you guys talking about Kellyanne Conway resigning? It's kind of a big deal, but to be fair, Omar did say that before we got to it, so no worries. Nora, thank you for your how's it going? And it's going okay. Glad to be back in the studio. Things feel half a step closer to normal. Let's see. Nikki Paul says, how long after Trump is out of office do you think the Trump brainwashing will be reversed? My family has become a part of the cult. I don't think that it's going to be anytime soon. His kids are going to try to keep it up, and they're just going to want more Trumps. Like, that's the cult. Maybe there'll be others, but I think it's going to be for quite a while, years and years. Jan McGirl says, am I the only one who feels like this is totally staged? I think Conway needed a good excuse to jump ship. I believe the family issues, but the timing, I don't know. The family issues do seem significant. It is possible that she wants to be out of it in case he loses, maybe. And she can always go back. So maybe. Fanatic says, what happens if Trump loses the election? Do you think his enablers in Congress and the Senate will immediately walk back all their support? No, I think that they will still want him to support them for their own purposes, selling books, getting reelected, and stuff like that. We'll see. British says, John, would you emigrate if Trump won 4 more years and became an authoritarian dictator? I mean, it depends on what that looks like. I ideally want to keep living in America, but we'll see. We'll see. No, I'm not one of the people who's ever, like, I don't think even joked, like, oh, if this election goes the wrong way, I'm moving to Canada or anything. Although Canada seems nice. Over on Twitch, Depressed Progressive says, just so you know, John, I go to YouTube, give my thumbs up, and then join the Dragon Squad. Thank you. I appreciate that. Watches on Twitch, likes on YouTube. I support that. Pigment Bean says, I feel like the RNC is a good time to try shrooms. If I'm going to have an out-of-body experience watching it anyways, I might as well. Good point. Just don't get too paranoid because they want you to be paranoid. Tom Zawacki over on Twitter at #TDR Live says, the Conways are literally using their daughter to jump a sinking ship. He's becoming their lifeboat to restart their deceptive carriers. I expect them to pop up in 4 years with a new political advisory company that will be taking money from another terrible candidate. I agree with you. The only thing I disagree is I don't think it's going to take 4 years. Jess Ortega sent a photo of her cat, Kit Kat, which is very adorable. Sarah Worley on #TDR Live has got 2 adorable huskies, it looks like. Very cute. Brings me back to the Arctic. Joe, #wear a mask, put up 2 very cute pups. Progressive Canuck has a very cute puppy, the Delta Flyer, who I believe our audience named, if I remember correctly. And we've got cute dogs from Maytel on Twitter and Abso Zero, adorable. The Missing Link, Just Gen Period with the very cute one. And if you're not a #TDR Live, you're missing out on so many dogs. But with that, thank you for joining us for our first show back. We're going to try to work out a few kinks, including me apparently shaking the camera constantly over the next few days or so. We are going to have coverage later on the network today of the RNC. I'll be leading that coverage tomorrow, I think, with Ben Dixon, but I'll give you more details on tomorrow's show. Until then, stay sane out there and stay safe out there. We'll see you soon.